HTS and other rebels on the one hand, and old regime forces, mostly the prime minister of Assad, to find some kind of way for a smooth, violent-free, relatively peaceful transition of power. I was a bit surprised by how quick this happened. I didn't expect that it would only take 10 days from, them leaving Idlib and then arriving in Damascus. But that there was a strong regime weakness and that there was a strong weakness of Assad supporters. We could clearly see this. And, I think Syria experts knew that something was coming, even though I guess most are also surprised by how dynamic and how fast and how quick this all unfolded. The Jabhat al-Nusra in the past, and especially Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which operates under this name since 2017, 16, 17, is more Syria-oriented. It is less transnational. It is less concerned about establishing an Islamic caliphate. It wants to establish an Islamic order, but under the leadership of Abu Muhammad al-Jawlani since 2017, it has tried in the northwest region of Idlib, over which it ruled mostly 3.5 to 4 million people. It has tried to assure minorities living there, Christians, other religious minorities, for them to have a role and to not be persecuted. It doesn't mean that there haven't been violence against opposition. It was an authoritarian rule. It was not a democratic, liberal, secular kind of rule. Certainly not. But it was not the same kind of dictatorship or the same kind of brutal repression that we know in Syria from regime areas, that we have known from ISIS rule, or that we have known from the Turkish occupation of parts of northern Syria. So it is an ambivalent organization. So it has these implications. For sure, on the short term, Iran and Russia have been weakened because Assad has been their, main ally in Syria for decades. That is certain. But they might also have different interests. So I think for Russia, the interest is, of course, to keep a footing in the heart of the Middle East, and that's why these two bases are so important. And I could envision that Russia is open for some kind of negotiations with Jawlani, with Turkey, to maintain a certain role inside Syria. For Iran, it is a much harder, challenge, because in Iran's project of the kind of axis of resistance in the Middle East, that is, allies from Tehran to Baghdad to Damascus to Beirut with Hezbollah, they are losing Damascus, so to say, is a massive blow. And I think for Russia, it is of utmost importance, now that they have lost the decades-long ally Assad, to maintain kind of some functioning of these two bases. Because for them, they are, it's the only military base for Russia on the Mediterranean, on the Eastern Mediterranean, to be more precise. And it is an Air Force base, in the heart of the Middle East, where you have American troops, where Israel is close by, where you have Turkey, and so on, as other important players in that region. So I think for Russia, there is an interest in keeping this. So I assume there might be negotiations between the new HTS-led, transition government or parts of the moderates of the old regime and the Russians here to keep some of this. But it's too early to tell right now what precisely will happen to these two bases. Also es ist wirklich entscheidend für die Frage, wie friedfertig oder wie gewaltvoll es in Syrien in den nächsten Tagen weitergeht, sind zwei Dinge. Das eine ist, kann dieser politische Transitionsprozess, der jetzt angekündigt ist, also dass die Rebellen unter Führung von HTS zusammen mit Kräften aus dem alten Regime von Assad in Damaskus zusammenarbeiten. Hier geht es ja vor allem um den Premierminister. kann das gelingen? Kann es gelingen, dass die syrischen staatlichen Institutionen von den Rebellen nicht angegriffen oder gewaltvoll übernommen werden, sondern dass hier eine Art von Zusammenarbeit stattfindet und eine Reform dieser Institutionen? Das wird eine kurzfristig und vor allem mittelfristig zentrale Frage sein. Und das Weitere, was kurzfristig den Gang der Dinge in Syrien bestimmen wird, ist, wie mit den Minderheiten umgegangen wird. Also kann es gelingen, dass eine wirklich aus dem sunnitischen Islamismus kommende Rebellenorganisation wie HTS offen genug ist und offen genug bleibt, andere Gruppen, die ideologisch anders eingestellt sind, beispielsweise viel säkularer oder die anderen religiösen oder ethnischen Minderheiten angehören, hier integrativ zu bleiben